Anime live actions are trash. Yes, there are some exceptions. Some are okay, even decent, but most of them are terrible.
This needs to stop! Now!
They're stupid, poorly directed, they change story and characters, and they're often visually awful. They seem to be made without any kind of care for the original product, but just to earn a quick buck, knowing that the fans of the series will watch anything even vaguely related to their favorite shows. And just to be on the same wavelength. A live action is a movie or a TV show in which the events of an anime or manga are portrayed by real actors. To put it simply, this is the anime and this is the live action version. And lately they're everywhere for some reason. There are 18 of them currently in the works, a huge amount, but no one seems to like them. And if the way they are made doesn't change, most likely not even one of them will be enjoyable. The whole machine behind live actions is broken, but can we find a way to fix them? Let's at least try. First of all, we have to separate two different kinds of live actions, the high budget ones and the low budget ones. Because if you decide to adapt Full Metal Alchemist into a live action, and this is the alchemy, you're bound to fail even if everything else was perfect. And fuck, it isn't. What I mean is, please, if there's no budget for a show, don't even try to work on it. There is no point in making a live action of Attack on Titan when these are the Titans. And that doesn't mean that if you have a low budget, you can't make a movie at all. Just choose carefully what to adapt. Don't ask me why, but recently I ended up watching the live action of Your Lie in April, and I thought it was surprisingly decent. Obviously not even close to what the manga and the anime are, but it was watchable. I would have even said good if I didn't know about the original product. If you don't have a big budget, just do like Takehiko Shinjo and adapt something that is as realistic and as uncomplicated as possible. It's really not that difficult. But then there's the other kind of live actions, the ones that have a decent budget to work with, the ones that have no reason to be that bad, but they are anyway. Perhaps the biggest complaint that everyone has against live actions is that the story and the characters get changed, and therefore they often feel very different from the originals. And this is a really delicate topic to dig in, but let's try anyway. Some things have to be changed. A movie or a TV show must portray a cohesive story, with a beginning, a middle section and a conclusion. And even if you plan to continue making more movies or seasons, you can't just end something in the middle of a story arc. It wouldn't make sense. Right, dude? Let's take a random manga from my library as an example. Slam Dunk. Incredible, by the way. If a live-action movie about Slam Dunk is ever to be made, I'd say that a good place to stop is at the end of Volume 9. The problem is that in the first 9 volumes there are 133 chapters. And trust me, whatever you do, there is no way to fit that many chapters into a 2 hours movie. That's why you have to cut stuff out. But doing so obviously creates other problems. You can't just remove parts of the story and magically expect the plot to flow in the same way, or the characters to be equally interesting. That's why you need someone to take the responsibility that comes with it and adapt the story. We, the public, are too often blinded by our love for the original product, and we forget what it means to adapt.
Make suitable for a new use or purpose. Modify.
An adaptation will always have something different from the original product, but that doesn't mean that it will necessarily be awful. And I present to you the best example of that ever. The Lord of the Rings movies are amazing, perhaps some of the best in cinema history, and they're obviously based on equally amazing books. But if you've read the books, you'll know how different they are from the movies. Entire subplots and characters have been modified or just completely removed. And yet it works, because Peter Jackson, or whoever it was good and brave enough to take the incredible story and the characters from the books and transform them to fit the big screen. This is a great adaptation, and it's what anime live actions too often lack. Someone who understands the story and the characters so well that can go and modify them and use them in different ways without destroying them and making them unrecognizable. But here comes another problem, this time exclusive to anime and manga. You know that incredibly cringe scene at the end of the live action of Cowboy Bebop that was memed to infinity when it first came out? Well, if you've actually seen the original anime, you'll know that that's exactly how this character behaves. Ed is childish, loud, weird, and she's constantly fidgeting and moving around. The thing is, that doesn't fit live action at all, because there is no real person in this world that does that. And seeing a real actor, a real person do this while they talk, just makes you want to turn off the TV. I honestly have no idea of how anyone could have watched this scene and thought,
perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
Anime and manga are incredibly different mediums from books and movies, and the rules around them are totally different. The characters act and are made in certain ways, they are incredibly exaggerated, They're mediums full of screams, movements, colors, and I love them for that. But when they're turned into live actions, they lose that charm they have, and it all becomes very, very cringe. The characters must be different in live actions. Yes, also physically. Brightly colored hair and weird physiques are staples in the medium, but please don't try to replicate them in live action. They only alienate the viewer. For example, this is the live action of Saiki K, and Saiki is an exact one-to-one copy of the anime. Yet the feeling you get when looking at these two versions of the character is completely different. This dude here doesn't look real. He looks like a random dude at a convention trying to cosplay his favorite character. And yes, I know that Saiki has to give off a weird vibe, but there's just no way you can take this guy seriously. But despite all of this, perhaps the most important thing that live actions get wrong is something else, and it's much less concrete. In my opinion, directors are often so focused on making a good live action anime that they forget to make a good movie or a good TV show. For a long time, I wondered why live actions existed. At the end of the day, if you want to read and look at pictures, you have the manga, and if you want to watch something on screen, you have the anime. Why should we need anything else? But then I got my answer that one time I asked my best friend to watch Attack on Titan with me. I showed him sure he would love to death if he'd just give it a try, and he replied with a weird look on his face.
Sorry bro, I don't watch anime.
I didn't get why. Probably the last anime he had seen was Dragon Ball when he was 10 years old. He didn't have any negative experiences with the medium, and yet it was off limits. From then I accepted that for some people, anime and manga are just a no-go for some reason. But I would love for them to get to know and love these incredible stories too. And live actions could be maybe not a solution, but definitely a patch, perhaps to introduce them to the medium. And that's why they keep getting produced, even though finding a good one is harder than finding the release date of the second season of Grand Blue. Seriously, where the fuck is it? Obviously the big corporations behind manga and anime want to put their filthy hands on the money of all that category of millions, maybe billions of people around the world who will never read manga or never watch anime just because they are manga and anime. And Netflix or whoever gets rights to the series knows that with the core fanbase watching, their investment will be at least decently safe. Do you want to know the highest grossing manga live action movies of all time? They're Edge of Tomorrow and Alita. And you want to know why? Because they're decent movies, not decent anime movies. And I'm willing to bet that most of the people who watched them didn't even know they were f***ing manga adaptations. One had Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt in it, and the other one was produced by James Cameron. They definitely have nothing to do with this. If you create a movie and your only goal is to create a good live action, you've already failed. The result will be mediocre at best. Maybe, if it's okay, it'll be watched by fans of the series before it's forgotten. But if you really want to make your product stand out and reach a whole new mainstream audience, you need to put your heart into it. You need to have a product that can be beautiful on its own, something that can stand out from the crowd, something that is good because it's good. The stories are there, the characters too, you just have to take them and use them in a way that suits the medium you want to approach. Because despite how much we all hate them, live actions can actually be a good thing. They can introduce anime and manga even to that annoying friend who doesn't want anything to do with them. And also, it's nice to see something you're passionate about make the big jump and reach a whole new mainstream audience. Obviously, only if the result is up to par, that is. Needless to say, what made me want to make this video was watching the trailer for the One Piece live action, which I think really has some potential. It looks like a lot of the issues I talked about in this video are either absent or at least handled pretty well there, so I can't wait to watch it. Who knows, it'll most likely suck, but maybe it'll be the start of something new. And seeing that there are 18 live actions in the works, I really hope that's the case. But maybe it's just me. Tell me your controversial opinion about live actions in the comments, leave a like, and click on this video that I'm sure you'll enjoy.